Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I have gone through every single all-time team in NBA 2K20 and combined the top two players together to create one super player. So how we ended up doing this, for an example, we're on the Philadelphia 76ers right now. We combined Moses Malone and Allen Iverson into one player. And how we did that is we took whichever player had the highest attribute and gave it to our highest rated player. So in this case, it was Iverson. So if Moses Malone had any higher stats, then we would just add it to Allen Iverson's attributes. And then we also took the tallest of the two players. We also took the badges from each of the players and the hotspots from each of the players as well to create one super player of two players combined. I also tried to fix up the tendencies so they would play a little bit like both of their players. I don't think tendencies makes a huge difference in simulations. I'm going to be doing two simulations with this roster, one with all of the top players in the NBA in today's NBA playing, and then another where we take out all the star players. That way our combined players can just go completely off and truly find out their true potential. So that was the 76ers, Moses Malone, Allen Iverson. I'll go through all the teams. On the Bucks, we got Oscar Robertson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The Bulls, we got Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. Cavs, we got Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. Celtics, we got Bill Russell and Larry Bird. Clippers, we got Chris Paul and Bob McAdoo. Grizzlies, we got Mark and Pau Gasol, so they're going to be Park Gasol. For the Hawks, we got Dominique Wilkins and Tom Pettit. For the Heat, we got Dwayne Wade and LeBron James. For the Hornets, we got Glenn Rice and Eddie Jones. And this is actually, I believe, our lowest overall rated player. For the Jazz, we got Karl Malone and John Stockton. For the Sacramento Kings, we got Tiny Archibald and Oscar Robertson. For the New York Knicks, we got Patrick Ewing and Walt Frazier. For the LA Lakers, we got Kobe Bryant and Magic Johnson. For the Orlando Magic, we got Tracy McGrady and Penny Hardaway. For the Dallas Mavericks, we got Luka Doncic and Dirk Nowitzki. For the Brooklyn Nets, we got Jason Kidd and Julius Erving. For the Denver Nuggets, we got David Thompson and Carmelo Anthony. For the Indiana Pacers, we got Reggie Miller and Paul George. For the New Orleans Pelicans, we got Anthony Davis and Chris Paul. For the Detroit Pistons, we got Grant Hill and Isaiah Thomas. For the Toronto Raptors, we got Vince Carter and Kawhi Leonard, even though Kyle Lowry is the greatest Raptor of all time. For the Rockets, we got Moses Malone and Hakeem Olajuwon. For the Spurs, we got George Gervin and Tim Duncan. For the Suns, we got Charles Barkley and Steve Nash. For the Thunder, we got Gary Payton and Kevin Durant. For the Timberwolves, we got Kevin Love and Kevin Garnett. So we still just have Kevin Garnett. And it's pretty much just Garnett with a three-point shot. For the Trailblazers, we got Bill Walton and Clyde Drexler. For the Warriors, we got Stephen Curry and Wilt Chamberlain. And lastly, on the Wizards, we got Wes Unseld and Elvin Hayes. So that is going to be all our teams, all of our players combined. The players I chose to be combined were just the top two overall rated on the all-time teams inside of NBA 2K20. So if you disagree with some of the players that I put, take that up with 2K. But most of our players on our team is going to be a 99 overall. There's a few that are actually under. And then, of course, the Hornets player was also pretty low as well. And we do still have all of our star players in the NBA for this first simulation. We're just going to simulate through a season, see how well these guys do, see how well their teams do. And then we'll get rid of all the star players and see if they can do even better. We have made it to the end of the season, and the Bill Russell-Larry Bird combination is going to get MVP. Ja Morant gets Rookie of the Year. None of our combined players were rookies, but Stephen Chamberlain is going to get Sixth Man of the Year, which is odd. I don't know why he is not starting. A 99 overall point guard that's 7'1" with Stephen Curry and Wilt Chamberlain's attributes combined. Why is he not starting? That doesn't make sense. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Carl Stockton. Bam Adebayo gets Most Improved, and Nick Nurse gets Coach of the Year. The Raptors with 59 wins. Checking out our all NBA first team, we got Anthony Paul, Bill Drexler, Bill Bird, Dwayne James, and Moses Olajuwon. On our second team, we got Scottie Jordan, Patrick Frazier, Gary Durant, Jason Irving, and Chris McAdoo. And then our third team, we got Kobe Johnson, Carl Stockton, Kyrie James, and then two current players, Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid, which is interesting that 2 current players end up getting on the All-NBA teams. Checking out the standings, they're a little different than they would be in real life. We got the Raptors up on top of the East, 76ers, Celtics. Cavs end up making playoffs. They definitely would not end up making playoffs without Kyrie James. So Kyrie James doing very, very good. Milwaukee Bucks, Nets, Heat, and the Hawks make playoffs as well. And they have Dominique Pettit. So a few teams getting up there that normally wouldn't. Coming down to the bottom, the Detroit Pistons going to be the worst team in the league. Going over to the West, we got the Lakers. They also have 59 wins. Rockets, Clippers, Warriors. Warriors make playoffs. Of course, this is uninjured rosters as well. Trailblazers, Thunder, Spurs, and Nuggets. So nothing crazy there in terms of teams making the playoffs. The worst team in the West is going to be the Dallas Mavericks. So they got real bad. Coming over to league leaders, it is going to be Kyrie James up on top with 31 points per game. And in second, we got Dwayne James. So 2 LeBron James combinations make it for the top 2 scorers in the league. Then we got Gary Durant, Trae Young making it up there still, and Vince Leonard. Coming over to rebounds per game, we got Moses Olajuwon pulling 16.3 boards per game. For assists, we got Kobe Johnson with 12.7 assists per game. Of course, we wouldn't normally see Kobe with those assists, but we do have Magic Johnson and his tendencies as well. For steals, we got Scottie Jordan. For blocks, we got Moses Olajuwon. Field goal percentage, we got Chris McAdoo. 3-point percentage, we got Glenn Jones. And for our free throw percentage, we got Reggie George. So that is going to be all the stats, but let's hop right into the playoffs now and find out which team is going to come out on top with these combinations. And then we'll get into, I think, the more interesting simulation. So when we get rid of all our star players inside of 2K20, let's go ahead and simulate the first round though. And in the first round, we actually have a few upsets in the East. The 8th-seeded Atlanta Hawks beating the Toronto Raptors. Cleveland beats Milwaukee. The Brooklyn Nets beat the Celtics. 76ers beat the Heat. And in the West, we have the top 3 seeds. And then Portland ended up with the upset over Golden State. I thought Golden State would have done very well with Stephen Chamberlain. In my opinion, I thought that was going to be the best player just because 7'1" point guard that can shoot. But apparently not. Let's find out who makes the conference finals. Making it to the conference finals in the West, we got the 2 LA teams like we see normally. Of course, they're 2 of the best teams normally. And when we add 2 of their greatest players combined on the teams, they're just going to get that much better. So Lakers and Clippers making the West. But in the East, it's a little different. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers making the Eastern Conference Finals. Normally, they're one of the worst teams in the East, but with Kyrie James, they're doing very well. And then we got the Brooklyn Nets, which is the Jason Kidd, Julius Erving duo. They also have Kyrie on the team and Kevin Durant. So that's a pretty stacked team. Let's find out which 2 teams are going to make the NBA Finals. And it looks like the Cavs, they started off with the lead. Nets coming back, and the Cavs going to move on. And the LA Clippers going to move on. I did not think the Lakers would be eliminated with LeBron, Anthony Davis, and then Kobe Johnson at point guard. That's pretty OP, but somehow Clippers getting the W. So in the NBA Finals, you have the Clippers. Game 1 goes Clippers, 2-0 lead. Cavs get a game. The Clippers with a 3-1 lead. And the LA Clippers are going to be the NBA champions with their duo of Chris Paul and Bob McAdoo. He was playing center for this game. And MVP is going to go to Chris McAdoo. Of course, our combined player of Chris Paul and Bob McAdoo. I don't know if they would be better as a center or as a point guard. Either position, they're going to be way better than the rest of the centers or point guards because if he's a point guard, he's going to be way taller. If he's a center, he has all the point guard skills to do a lot better. So it's interesting. I'm not sure which would actually play better. But Clippers champs, Chris McAdoo. Here's his finals MVP stats. For our next simulation, I'm going to be getting rid of any player over an 85 in the league that's not our combined players. So 86 and above are going to be deleted from the roster. That way we can see if these guys can really carry their teams and how many crazy stats they can drop throughout the season. All right, so we have gone ahead and removed all of the stars from every NBA team. So anybody that was an 86 or higher is now off of every roster. So our combined all-time players are going to be the stars of every single team. Some players actually went up in overall, so they'll be over an 86 now and throughout the season. But this will really show us which of these combined players are the best, because it is going to be up to them to run their team. I want you to leave your comment down below on which player you think is the best, though, and which team you think is going to win now that we removed all of the stars. I believe it is going to be that Cavs team with Kyrie James. He should end up doing the best, but I'm hoping some of our players can drop a little higher numbers than they did in that first simulation. Yet again, it is going to be Bill Bird with the MVP, 27.9 points, 14 rebounds, and 8.8 assists. A pretty impressive stat line, but not as good as I thought it was going to be for some of our top players. John Morant, Rookie of the Year again. Ricky Rubio going to get 6-man, so this time none of our combined players going to be on the bench. Carl Stockton, yet again, Defensive Player of the Year, and they actually combined a triple-double combined with 2.5 steals, 1.4 blocks. Most improved, Jalen Brunson. We don't care about that. Coach of the Year is going to go to Brad Stevens of the Celtics. Checking out our All-NBA first team this time, we got Kobe Johnson, Scottie Jordan, Bill Bird, Dwayne James, and Chris McAdoo. On the second team, we got Stephen Chamberlain, Charles Nash, Gary Durant, Kevin Garnett, and Moses Olajuwon. And on the third team, we got Bill Drexler, Carl Stockton, Jason Irving, Vince Leonard, and Oscar Abdul-Jabbar. So it is going to be all of our combined players making the NBA teams, the All-NBA teams, and the All-Defensive teams as well. Coming over to the standings this time, they are going to be a little different than before. Of course, without the stars, the Celtics are going to be on top this time with 65 wins. Raptors still up there with 54. Cavaliers end up getting 52, 76ers with 50. The Knicks make the playoffs with 45 wins. The Bucks, the Hornets make the playoffs with 42, and the Magic making the playoffs as well. So Knicks, Hornets, Magic, Cavs, wouldn't always see them up there in the top teams, but they all end up making playoffs. And the worst team in the East is going to be the Atlanta Hawks. Of course, this is with Dominique Pettit. And then the Heat, the second worst team with a Dwayne James. I'm surprised they did so bad with Dwayne James, LeBron, Dwayne Wade duo. I thought they would have done a lot better. But going over to the West now, our top team only with 49 wins, and that is going to be Kobe, Magic, and the Lakers. Then we got the Clippers, Suns make playoffs, Grizzlies up there, the Kings, Warriors, Thunder, and the Jazz. Spurs don't end up making it in there. The Rockets don't make playoffs. The Mavs, the Nuggets, and the Timberwolves are the worst team. This is Kevin Garnett. It's pretty much Kevin Garnett with Kevin Love shooting. It's all about change for that player, but a lot different than we'd see in our normal NBA. Let's come over here, though, to our league leaders. And our league leader for points per game is going to be Scottie Jordan, averaging 34.6 points per game. Stephen Chamberlain also with 34. Gary Durant with 32. Vince Leonard with 32. And Dwayne James with 32. I do not see Kyrie James. Kyrie James, 13th, 27.9 points per game. Maybe the Cavs aren't going to do as good now. Rebounds per game, it's going to be Kevin Garnett with 17.3. Moses Olajuwon right behind him. Assists per game, but this time it's switched up. It goes to Charles Nash. Kobe Johnson going to be second with 12, but 4 players getting over 10 assists per game. Steals per game, we got Scottie Jordan with 2.7. Blocks per game, Moses Olajuwon with 3. Field goal percentage going to go to Chris McAdoo. I believe they got the top last time as well. 3-point percentage is going to go to Luka Nowitzki, so that's interesting. And free throw percentage goes to Reggie George yet again, and their teammate Malcolm Brogdon right behind them. But I just want to check out the league leaders for the season in terms of scoring and all of the stats. So our top points in a game is going to be Vince Leonard, who dropped 59. Vince Leonard also dropping 13 three-pointers. They attempted 21 in that same game. So if they shot a little better, they could have beat the three-point record in a game. Free throws made is 24 for Stephen Chamberlain. Rebounds is going to be 29 for Kevin Garnett. Chris McAdoo actually going to lead for defensive rebounds. Assists is 26 for Kobe Johnson. Steals, 9 for Vince Leonard. Blocks is going to be 9 for Moses Olajuwon, and then Charles Nash with 49 minutes one game. So that is all of the stats for our players, but we are hopping right back into the playoffs to see if they turn out differently now that we got rid of all the star players in the NBA. And coming out of the first round, there's only one upset in the first round. That's going to be in the East. The Milwaukee Bucks are going to upset the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Bucks, of course, with Oscar Abdul-Jabbar, and they beat out Kyrie, James, and the Cavs. So we have mostly our top seeds right here. A lot of the teams we would see normally in these playoff spots, and we also have some of the greatest teams in NBA history here. But let's simulate another round, see if there's any more upsets. And there is an upset in the West. The Memphis Grizzlies defeat the LA Lakers. The Memphis Grizzlies, I did not think they had the greatest team. They're led by Marc Gasol, of course. Marc and Pau Gasol are one of our lower overalls, only a 96 overall. They also got Ja Morant, JV on the team as well. I'm surprised that they end up making the conference finals. They'll face off against the LA Clippers, who, of course, won the championship in our last simulation. And in the East, we got Boston versus Toronto. Bill Bird, our MVP, facing off against Vince Leonard. Let's find out which two teams are going to make the NBA Finals. Looks like the Celtics are going to get a sweep and the Clippers with a sweep as well. So in the NBA Finals, we have the Celtics facing off against the Clippers. Bill Bird facing off against Vince Leonard. Celtics going to take the 1-0 lead. They take a 2-0 lead. Clippers tying it up 2-2. And the Celtics with the 3-2 lead. And the Boston Celtics going to be our NBA champs here. Bill Bird not only getting MVP, but the NBA championship. And I'm assuming he will get finals MVP as well. So it looks like out of all our duos, it was consistently Bill Bird that came out on top. Of course, the Celtics, one of the greatest teams in NBA history. And there it is, Bill Bird getting finals MVP, and he got regular season MVP 2 times. So I think we can say he was the best combined player, leading the Celtics to a championship as well. Here is Bill Bird's finals MVP stats: 26.7 points per game, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. So averaging a triple-double in the finals. That's going to be it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, of course, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you aren't already, this has been your boy Smequle, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone in progression, it's all that I wanted. The phone in affection, I summon and dub it. Cause I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the